Ladies and gentlemen, it feels so good to be back for another season of the HCS alongside Dan Gaskin. And this series, Dan, promises to be a tasty one.
It really does. I mean, we got to see Shopify Rebellion already on our screens earlier today. A little bit shaky at times, but as you alluded to, they weathered the Cloud9 storm. And I think that's very exciting for them that they got over those initial jitters, and now they might look like that dominant force that we came to expect.
That's very interesting about this Rebellion roster, right? Because they weren't one of the first ones to form. Formal, he happened, he got to take the players that he wanted. SSG then reacted. Rebellion were sort of waiting to see what they could piece together. And they have found a roster now that have championship capacity. They're championship contenders, and they've already done that in the KSN Invitational.
Well, this is the series layout. We're going to see a different series layout for the first time today. Of course, we already had our first and second series, but we will get to see Assault on our screens on Aquarius the first time in the HCS, of course, officially at an event. Very excited for that. Followed up by Slayer Livefire, CTF Forbidden, Strongholds Recharge, and then Slayer Solitude. This is a fantastic series for Shopify Rebellion. You know I always say those kind of things, Shurs, but I really do feel like they have the advantage when I look at those five.
Rebellion definitely coming into this series as the favorites. Weathered the storm of Cloud9, had a little shaky moment here and there, but with our 9th seed Infamous heading into this, they are definitely the underdogs and need to cause the upset. Dan, as we head into Assault Bomb, what sort of chance do you think Infamous have here?
I don't think they've got much of a chance. We know that Shopify Rebellion are one of the better teams we've seen so far when it comes to Bomb. They didn't lose one at the Invitational. I know we only saw it a couple of times when it happened, but they have shown they are one of these teams that have excellent control. Similar to Oddball in some ways, being able to manipulate that map, bully the spawns, and just force other teams into a submission, and then you plant that bomb. I think Shopify Rebellion are going to be one of the teams to watch when it comes to any bomb mode here in this tournament.
And of course, Assault has only been introduced this season, so for a lot of teams, they've been putting in the work in the off-season to try and grind, figure out what is the meta on these maps, on these game modes, and Assault being one of those newer ones, some of the fresher teams having to figure out some things that maybe they hadn't had to for seasons 1, 2, and 3, and Assault does play a little bit different to everything else.
And of course, we might have viewers that have never seen Assault on their screens. Maybe you haven't played some of the older Halos, you don't know how bomb works. Well, essentially, there is going to be a neutral bomb, one in the middle of the map where it spawns, and both teams will fight over that bomb to then try and plant it in the opposition base. If you plant it, you get a point. Easy peasy. Sounds it, right? Not so easy when spawns are happening around you. Teams are going to be throwing grenades every single time you're trying to plant that bomb, and of course then they will try and toss it out of the window in Aquarius, but it's a very heavy bomb, so it's not going to go that far.
And something I have to say as well about Aquarius Bomb and about Assault in general, Aquarius Bomb has become one of my favorites to play. I love this Aquarius flag, but Bomb brings just something a little bit different, and for teams that you're going to be looking to try and spawn the opposition in the enemy, in the fridge, and then get your plant on.
And I think that that's why I'm interested and excited to see Shopify Rebellion do it, because when I look at this roster and I look at how they've played leading up to this event and so far in their first series, they are a team who does bully. They are aggressive. They love taking 1v1s. They are so confident in their fights. And when you add in something like Assault, an Oddball, for example, an objective that can be worked around and manipulated in that way, they become a very formidable force, a team that you should be terrified to go up against because they will always be in your face. They will not allow you to escape, and you have to have a game plan. However, we did see with Cloud9, when they got 4 dead, when they were able to kind of deal with that initial wave, they were able to push back. They had a chance, and maybe that's something that Infamous can take away. Because we've all been talking about Shopify Rebellion, of course, but we have Infamous on our screens. This is the 9th seed in this tournament. We have a chance to see whether they can maybe do something similar to what Cloud9 achieved, but go one step further. Maybe get 2 maps, maybe not. Maybe they'll get a series.
Well, Infamous did have some scrims in the last couple of days, Dan, as well, and the results didn't really go their way. Do we say them on broadcast, or do we try and give people a little bit of hope and a little bit of a chance? Because the scrim against Luminosity didn't go to plan.
They didn't win a map against Luminosity, didn't win a map against FaZe over the last couple of days in scrims, but scrims are for practice. It is a chance to try different things, a chance to try and experiment, and perhaps that was the case for Infamous. Even the last times these two teams scrimmed against each other, it was 14-1 in favor of Shopify Rebellion, and that one map is not being played in this series as well. So it is definitely tough to be on the side of Infamous, but it's always that on-the-day approach. Can they do it when they are on the big stage?
We load in then. Rebellion looking to put their 2nd win on the board and head towards an unbeaten record in the pools. And for Infamous, it's about trying to upset the apple cart. The first seeded team hoping to take them down. It's shields up, it's weapons hot, we're underway.
Boy, does it feel good to hear you say that again. And as we've already alluded to, this is going to be an exciting one to see Shopify Rebellion, how they do on this map with Bomb. Already, it's some camouflage control and a couple of openers. And as I said, they're very aggressive, so this is not a good start for Infamous.
And on the desk, you heard Cykul and LastShot getting a lot of plaudits, and rightfully so. But it has to be said, for Royal 2 and Frosty, Dan, when the team changes were being made, Optic did what they did, SSG did what they did. Royal 2 and Frosty's phone didn't ring from either of those teams. You've got to know that they are fired up and ready to win some championships, just to prove a point that they still got it.
They definitely want to prove a point, but maybe they are going to struggle to prove one in this first opening set, because Shopify Rebellion, they were 3 down for a second, but of course, that regression that I was talking about, that confidence in 1v1s, Frosty shows it just there. His teammates are down, he's out, and Frosty says, I don't really care, I'm still going to take the fight. And he makes sure that Bomb does not move anywhere. At the moment, it's just stuck down towards the P1 area, and it's whether anyone can actually get their hands on it before it resets here.
Royal 2 and Cykul combined to get a kill. Royal 2 turns his attention towards top middle and Ezho. Ezho drops towards the front face, down to no shield. Royal 2 handles business, but gets traded out by Lethul. Bomb is being picked up and on the move here. Lethul could be and should be about to get himself a kill, and does. Gets a kill, fires out a threat seeker as well, just to pick up a few hits, and Royal 2 now last man standing for his team, and Infamous starting to push that bomb forward. This is very dangerous for Rebellion.
And moving it on this car side, and do have a chance to maybe try and force the spawns a little bit, especially if they can catch Royal 2 off guard, which they do, and now they have the advantage to push into the base. How do Rebellion defend this one? Now they've lost 2.
Frosty on the shroom stairs, putting down some damage, trying to stay alive. Down to no shields though. Kuhlect the same in the enemy base. Continued to be a nuisance here. Descendant gets that kill onto Frosty, and now it's about trying to kill the respawners over towards that fridge. They have them exactly where they want, but Kuhlect goes down, and he really could have done with staying alive.
But notice how Infamous have not been able to try and attempt to plant that bomb just yet. They are just slowly tossing it one step at a time to get closer. But because the spawns are so close on Aquarius, you have to take down everything before you start to arm that bomb. Otherwise, you are just going to be taken down by the spawners, and Rebellion do just that. They will be able to rescue the bomb, they will be able to get it out their base, and now they can start to plan their own attack.
Assault really can be a marathon, not a sprint. It's very difficult to do things quickly. You have to get forward dead, move in, slowly start to turn the screw. Rebellion did weather that storm for a moment. 2 down for Infamous. Descendant Lethul in the respawn screen. Frosty last man standing for his team. He manages to get a pick and continues to drive forward. Inside bottom middle now. Throwing down some grenades. Ezho's in his fridge, or in his closet, excuse me, but as he doubles back now to try and pick up the tabs here, Ezho in a 1v1. Frosty will win that one and push forward once more.
You don't really want to be taking the 1v1s against these boys. That's what they want. That's how they're going to beat you into a submission. Bomb does get reset though, and you can see kills in the kill feed going in favor of Infamous, but again, Frosty is just going to find himself in a spot here to take down anyone who decides to just marauder on their own a little bit. And there's the first victim.
Looking at the kills up the top of our screen. Lethul currently sitting with 5-2 and 6, but it's going to be saying Kuhlect 11, 3 and 5. A hot start for him, and that's exactly what they need if they're going to see success in this game. And Lethul has to play a little bit of defense here. The bomb's not in his territory for the moment, but you can see Rebellion are trying to piece something together here.
Well, how many times have we said throughout HCS history, you know, Kuhlect was the difference maker in that series, and granted, sometimes it was series that maybe wasn't on the biggest of teams at those times, but now this is definitely a team that can be up there and competing with the big boys on their best of days. And right now they are going toe-to-toe with the #1 seed. No one been able to really get that bomb anywhere near the plant. I mean, Infamous were the team who got closest, but couldn't even get it armed at all, let alone actually plant that bomb. And it does beg the question, do you want to try and go for something a little bit different if everything right now has just been kind of forcing yourself into a wall of damage coming from the other team? Do you try and go for a sneaky approach? Someone gets it with the camouflage, for example, which is exactly what we're seeing now from Infamous.
Kuhlect's going to take his time then with the camouflage. Has a thruster pack as well to get himself out of dodge if need be. As he moves over towards the bridge, Frosty's just spotted him out. That plasma shot will take down his shields. He has to delay this for a second because now they know exactly where he is. Has to delay, wait for his teammates to spawn back up. A lovely little skill jump that's been introduced recently. Starts to earn the bomb. Frosty's going to try and put a stop to it, and does.
Will remain just that little bit armed though, as the bomb is still on the spot. Descendant gets a big kill, and now they can keep pushing up. Infamous off spawn. Rebellion really need to try and force those grenades in to stop this arm.
Just a couple of ticks away, and Infamous do get the bomb plant. Infamous do take the lead, and all of a sudden that upset could be on the cards.
That's brilliant from Infamous, because now with 7 minutes on the clock and having the lead, you can opt to play this one a little bit differently. You can be a little bit defensive if you would like, but if they get the opportunity again, it all comes down to that camouflage. Kuhlect got over into that corner, was able to then make the jump, and Rebellion, they were on the back foot because of it. 3 are dead though for Infamous, and now Rebellion will look to try and respond.
It has to be said, for large parts of this, Infamous deserved that plant. They've been in control thus far. They've been the ones really putting down the damage, getting the kills, and really putting them in the Rebellion on the back foot. But over towards the closet area, Royal 2, face to face with Descendant, loses out on that gunfight for now. 3 dead once more for Rebellion, and Infamous looking really good here.
They are just going to be throwing that bomb, so then they're going to know exactly where they are, and Frosty says, thank you for giving me that info. I'll take that fight. I'll make sure I slow this bomb down, and he survives. So again, Frosty, as the last player alive, is doing bits for Rebellion to make sure they don't go too behind here.
Black top middle. Got a little bit of damage from Royal 2, and that was enough to turn the tide in that fight. Cykul continues to jiggle peek. Camouflage is up. It looks though Infamous are in the prime position to scoop it up and pop it into the chest. Looks like Ezho might have just gotten it, and it's been popped now. As his shield's recharged, he pushes towards the courtyard. 3 of his teammates are in the respawn screen. He's going to have to delay here. Bomb has been reset at the worst possible time for him, as he will now have to backstab. Royal 2 sitting in fridge. They know this camouflage is around, and they're doubling back from him. Rebellion not allowing him to live. Instead of pushing forward, they're going to deal with the camouflage player and clear him out.
Yeah, they could smell him. They knew exactly where he was, and they ensured that he gets taken down. So there's not going to be any tomfoolery from behind. And now they can get control of this bomb and start to move it themselves. Now remember, this is similar to what happened in the first series of the day for Shopify Rebellion. They went 1-0 down in that flag game, but then they were able to wrestle their way back in. Frosty said in the interview they got rid of some of those jitters, but perhaps, you know, those first game jitters are still prevalent here.
First game jitters leaking into second game jitters now. 3 dead for a moment for Infamous. Descendant's going to fall. The bomb has been armed. We're all tied up now, out of nowhere. Rebellion get the bomb planted, and all that good work Infamous put in has been undone in a matter of moments.
Yeah, just like that, with a little bit of control when they had 3 dead, Rebellion were able to force that bomb in, and it was a simple plant in the end. And all that hard work Infamous have now put in, they have to do exactly the same to try and find themselves ahead again. And it may come down to the camouflage play. I liked it from Kuhlect. I think that that's something they have to be considering, because their camouflage control has been good so far.
Killing spree for Cykul. Currently looking at 14-3 and 9. The bomb's moving in once more. Frosty is taking damage. Royal 2 is going to have to try and provide some sort of cover fire here. Dropping down to help his teammate. Descendant will get the kill though. So now a little bit light on manpower is Royal 2, but he's going to try and aggress the spawns here. 2 players contend with him, and he's done a lot of damage, but nobody on his team there to capitalize.
Great patience though from Kuhlect and Lethul, recognizing where that kill had happened and knowing a grenade was very likely going to be joining them as they came around that corner. So they just held back for the extra second and actually saved them from going behind it. Had they both walked forward, that was probably a bomb plan.
Just over 4 minutes and change in the clock now. And a camouflage for LastShot. And he's starting to be an influence. Starting to be a thorn in the side of Infamous. The bomb has been reset, but Kuhlect from nowhere with an elbow to the spine.
If I was to tell you that these 2 teams, when they scrimmed, it was 14-1 in favor of Shopify Rebellion, would you believe it from what you are seeing right now? The answer, I know, would be no. This is so good from Infamous, and this is great character building, honestly. It's going to give them a lot of confidence, not just for the rest of the series, but for the tournament as a whole. They're going to be thinking, all right, well, if we can do this in game 1, why can't we do it in game 2, game 3, game 4, maybe game 5?
Rebellion must be thinking, this is not part of the rules. You're playing above your station. That's not very fair. That's not what we expected. Infamous really getting that land buff.
I also do think that, you know, with Assault being new and with it being one of the most underplayed game types we have in the HCS at the moment, there is always going to be this opportunity for the teams that are maybe on the underdog side of things to be able to take down some of the bigger teams, because maybe they have put extra practice in as 3 down on the side of Rebellion.
Frosty puts another one in the grave. Doubles back for the bomb now. Reset in 10 seconds. And you can see Frosty's made a real interesting play here. He's gone for the plasma pistol on a number of occasions now. Killing spree locked in. Threat Seeker goes into the closet, clears that one out. Descendant though, with a beautiful bank grenade, spins up, hits the visor of Frosty and takes him out of the fight.
Yeah, Frosty is very much going for that plasma pistol often. I think he recognizes how strong it can be and how important it can be for their success in this game. Bomb is still in no man's land at the moment. You need a little bit of control before you can start moving it. Now, I have seen a strategy employed by a few teams where you start to push heavily on one side and then you try and sneak that bomb the other way. So one team will try and contest you, they take the fight, and then you just sneak that bomb behind enemy lines. But it is difficult to do so. You have to be very kind of successful with that attempt.
Now it's heading towards the 2-minute mark on the clock. You've got to start thinking that maybe the next plant will be the winner. Descendant with the camouflage could possibly have the game in his hands here because it's Rebellion on the back foot. It's them having to try and play defense. Frosty's gone down, but unfortunately, 2 members of Infamous have fallen. It's very important now for Descendant to stay alive with this camouflage and remain an influence. Lethul towards the closet, so they're going to be able to combine here, work together. A little bit of bait and switch. That was surely a back whack. We're going to have to get VAR. VAR is going to have to come out here. I'm calling that one a back smack.
Tough to see. Could have been a double kill, but sadly not going to finish with any success. And it is going to allow now the bomb to start to be moved on the side of Shopify Rebellion. With 1:30 on the clock, if there is a plant here, you feel like it's just going to be game over. But LastShot maybe puts 2 on the board and does so. He's starting to put more kills in his favor now. 15 for him.
Like that, double kill opens the door.
Here they come.
Army. Rebellion are starting to really apply that pressure now. Frosty with bomb in hand. Grenades are coming from the fridge. They're not going to be able to do enough. They just managed to get the stop. The ball's being touched. The bomb cans are being tossed out. Royal 2 is going to continue the fight. Descendant off the back foot gets the kill. And they were moments away from a plant. Moments away from perhaps taking the victory.
But that bomb did fall out of the base, did get tossed out, so Infamous will hold on. And now they can start to push themselves. Have to just maybe think about taking kills here. Don't think too much about the bomb, and I like that from Descendant. Just put it into a more difficult area for the opposition to grab. If they do find success with their kills, which they will, Royal 2 gets the dub.
3 dead for Infamous. It's a 1v1 for that right now. LastShot comes undone by Ezho. Gonna try and push that bomb forward, but Frosty off the respawn puts an end to that very quickly. Looking at Frosty's stats as well, 24, 14, and 20. Playing exceptionally well here. It's got to be said, Infamous have really given as good as they've gotten here. There's still time for them to snatch a win.
I think Halo fans will be very happy to see how this game is going at the moment because it just sets us up for what could happen for the series and maybe for this tournament. As you can see, several members down. The bomb is going to be moved. Only 10 seconds remaining though, so it is very likely we might be heading into some overtime here.
The issue for Infamous was that Rebellion started to spawn inside the base. So you have to clear them out and hope to put them towards the fridge instead. Infamous now have control of the opposition base, and they are starting to spawn over towards the fridge. This is the opportunity. They've dealt with LastShot. They're starting to put bodies on the bomb. Unfortunately, they're starting to fall. 2 down on the side of Rebellion. 2 for Infamous. Ezho's fighting tooth and nail for everything, but he falls.
Yeah, they were able to toss that bomb out as well. Great defensive work from Rebellion. It was a massive opportunity for Infamous. They just couldn't get rid of that spawner. Again, you have to be very aware of those spawn locations and where they're going to be arriving from. Sometimes you can just tuck your head down and you can get a plant, but you can be mere milliseconds away from doing so before you get taken down on other occasions. Now Frosty's going to be able to move it, and you just saw an overkill in the kill feed from LastShot. He has taken down the entire the entire Infamous roster here, and now Rebellion are going to be pushing forward.
Driving forward is LastShot off the back of that overkill. Puts 1 more in the grave, making a second. Descendant and Ezho over towards the fridge. They're coming in. They want a piece of LastShot, and they bite off more than they can chew. 4 dead now for Infamous. Royal 2, hands on the bomb. Tick, tick, tick it goes. They're going to spawn in the fridge. Cykul, position top middle. Nobody on Infamous is going to get there, and Rebellion get the plant.
Rebellion will put that one away, and they will get the victory here in Game 1. Infamous, it was a great effort, but in the end, LastShot, who was struggling to begin with when it comes to those kills, pulls out an overkill into almost another overkill I thought he was going to get off the back of it, but a big double to ensure that they have the lead here, and they will take down Infamous in Game 1.
I think Onset and Brav talked about it in Series 1. When you look at the series, it's finished 3-1. No one cares about how you get the job done, as long as you push forward. They've looked shaky at times here, have Rebellion, but they've got another win on the board, 2-1 this time. They're just about squeaking through.
It's another thing that Frosty said in his interview. They weren't worried about Game 1. They weren't worried that they went behind because they know they have the capability to get back into that game. And I think that is what is quite scary about this Shopify Rebellion roster throughout this tournament, is even when you think they might be down, even when you might think they're going to be struggling, they always have that possibility to get back into it. Well, Assault Aquarius does go in their favor, and now how much does this hurt Infamous is going to be my biggest question. At least they are going to be moving to a Slayer, which I think, looking at the series layout, would have been their best opportunity at finding a win. if they can be that close on Assault Aquarius, then maybe that bodes well for them.
I mean, the incredible thing was, Infamous were moments away from getting that plant. If a couple of kills go their way, if they have a grenade that they can spin up and hit some of those fridge spawners, all of a sudden we're talking about a completely different story. But as such, the ink is now starting to dry on Aquarius. Assault 2-1 the score for Rebellion, and then we drive towards Live Fire Slayer. And this is really going to be Infamous's chance to put a dent in Rebellion's title ambitions.
I think it just comes down to execution, really, doesn't it? If you look back at that game, and the biggest things were just the final moments of getting that plant. Rebellion just seemed to have a bit more control when they actually were planting the bomb, whereas Infamous was a bit more forced when they were going into it. And that'll be something they'll learn as they move forward in the rest of the tournament as well. But you can see the stats on your screen there. I mean, Descendant putting up 30 kills, an excellent game from him. But I think everyone played their part. No one really struggled. I think there were times when there were dips from certain players or they started a little bit cold, but all 8 players seemed to be firing on all cylinders.
And you have to say as well, these reps are invaluable for Infamous. Of course, remember, Rebellion have the advantage of they've already played on LAN. They played together in that Kazan Invitational. For Infamous, this is really their first time and their first throw of the dice. Yeah,
you just have to learn as you go and grow with every game, every series. And if you can find victories along the way, even better. But remember, it's pool play. You can have these games, you can have these series in pool play where you struggle a little bit and then suddenly you burst to life when you get into that championship bracket. So we'll have to see how Infamous handle this one. And that's another test. When you're a new team, how do you handle losses? It's very different. Losing a scrim game, you're like, yeah, it's just practice, doesn't matter. But when you lose a game that's that close, who's going to be there to kind of pick up the pieces here in this one?
I think they can draw a lot of good things from game number 1, but Live Fire Slayer down. We always speak about how the underdogs have a chance in the games, particularly when it's the Slayers. And is it going to be the same situation here again?
I mean, one takeaway that Infamous can have looking at Slayer Live Fire is we did see Shopify Rebellion lose to Optic Gaming and that Invitational you were speaking of. It was a close game, but I think any Slayer that you're losing, there's always going to be things that need to be worked on. There is always going to be opportunities there, and we saw it earlier as well in the first series. We saw Shopify Rebellion lose a Slayer, and I think Infamous have to win this one if they want any chance in this series. I know that sounds very simple, and we always say it, but this one really is there for the picking.
What do you think? When you play in scrims and in tournaments and you lose a game type, it's far more valuable to lose that game type because you now know, okay, we've got something to work on, because they have just played Assault on Aquarius. They might think, okay, we're good, we won that game. But actually, as a matter of fact, they maybe weren't as comfortable as it could have been.
Yeah, comfort is a big thing as well. But one thing we learned from game 1 is, like, in the slaying department, very successful on the side of Infamous. I mean, Kuhlect was doing so well. Descendant was having a great game as well. If you are hot, if you are playing in that way, then you want to go into a Slayer to follow up. So I think this could be a really interesting one, especially if you can get early control against Rebellion. Don't get into that trading fight. Don't get into that trading war of 1v1 after 1v1. Rebellion will win that game. Instead, just try and eliminate the key pieces to begin with, and then bully them back. Don't allow them to set the pace of the game.
Game 2 underway, then on board with LastShot, the free-for-all god, now becoming fours god very quickly. Royal 2 and Cykul though, they're in the respawn screen watching the teammates on. LastShot finds one into the body, was good enough. Looking to get tower control now, really plant his feet and pop off with a few snipe shots. As he trains his eyes over towards the camouflage. And anybody on Infamous now are in great peril if they poke up more than a pixel.
LastShot got the call that Kuhlect was weak, and he put his sniper away somehow. Picks out the double as well, but the sniper will be down on the floor. 3 are dead though on the side of Infamous, so the likelihood is someone's going to rescue it on the side of Rebellion. And yeah, it goes into Cykul's hands. Now, last season I was saying that this young man was the player to watch throughout the entirety. Every single time he was on your screens, he was doing something incredible, and now he has the opportunity with this squad to really put himself in the history books of the HCS, and we'll have to see how he progresses, but yeah, I really love this team. You know, you were mentioning it, how like it felt like it was the scraps that kind of got put together after what happened with the breakup of the World Championship winning side, but I really think this could be one of those rosters that everyone is talking about throughout the entire year.
3 dead on the side of Rebellion momentarily, 10-10 on the score now. Ezho's got the sniper rifle, currently sitting at 4-1 and 2, so had a pretty bright start here, all things considered. Lethul's got a kill now, and that will put Infamous into the lead, even if only for a moment. There's a bit of a skirmish happening over towards the camouflage side, and LastShot put down some damage over towards Garage. Frosty will peek from the sandbags as well. Ezho's been threatened, been pressured a lot here. Cykul's down to no shields. That snipe shot did connect to the body. Not enough to get the kill. Teammate on hand, and Descendant will get the pick. It's a 3v3 on the map now. Ezho still got control of tower, although he's trying to clear it out at the moment. Still getting pressured. Camouflage up in 25 seconds. It's got Rebellion over there now, and perhaps they can think of just staying there for the moment and taking control of the map.
Just Infamous need to keep up this pace, keep up this pressure. Don't allow those one-shots to be getting away. Last shot, last player remaining. Find him, at least get eyes on him, at least get some sort of knowledge so you can take him out and you can start to plan around that. Don't let him escape and get a route behind, because that's what Rebellion will try and do. That last player will try and get damage, which will then allow the rest of the team off spawn to just suddenly pile into you. But now that's going to be a big kill onto Frosty, and maybe there'll be a camouflage, and yes, Lethul's going to grab it.
Shots down the Royal too. Unfortunately, he was between a rock and a hard place there, was Lethul. All 4 members of Rebellion just sitting there waiting for him, so no clear avenue that he could explore to get himself out of danger. Really tried to make the best of a bad situation, but you talked about trying to make sure you keep on top of things there, but all of a sudden 4 dead for Infamous, and they've really gotten their lead taken away from them.
Because they just couldn't find that last remaining player, and sadly then they got pinched by the 3 spawners and LastShot, who was over towards green. And now they find themselves behind to Infamous. 3 dead yet again, Kuhlect being the last remaining player, and Frosty has a sniper rifle. And I've seen this one before.
First shot doesn't find a home, second will get the body, and the melee did come out. Landed that Superman punch just to get the kill. All tied up only for a moment though, as Cykul will get the pick over towards Sandbags. So now, sniper rifle still down top middle. Frosty's gonna go back for it now.
Halfway to victory.
Look at the push forward. Ezho's over towards scoreboard. That pistol doing enough damage to pop the shields. LastShot should be able to apply the finishing touches, and does. And now a 4-kill advantage for Rebellion. Sniper rifle to play with as well, with 4 bullets to work with. Lethul could be about to lose his face, but he thinks differently about going towards tower instead. Backs towards his teammate.
Yeah, very important route that Frosty took just to make sure he was covered by someone, but also if he was taken down, someone else would be able to pick up that sniper rifle, and if he had hit that, I might have just lost my mind. But still alive, finally gets shut down at the top of tower. A 4-kill lead still, so they were 3 kills down, a 7-kill swing in their favor. And now the real question is, can Infamous actually get back into this game? Can they find that same kind of success? Because Rebellion have just had so much control at this point that every single spawner from Infamous has walked into bullets from Rebellion, but there's the opener. There's the now extra player on the map, and now you've got to take advantage of it.
You've got the opener. Royal 2 has the equalizer, but unfortunately for him, those 2 shots do not connect over the cross of top middle. They were just warning shots across the bow. Now Descendant in a 1v1 against LastShot, and he just continues to do that, Dan. He wins his ones.
It's not just him, it's the whole team winning their ones. And that's why it's so tough for Infamous. You don't want to take them in the 1v1, so you need to try and send 2 players. You need to play the buddy system a little bit. But then if that goes wrong, if too much damage is done by that individual, then you find yourself on the back foot. 5-kill advantage now for Rebellion. But at least there's a camouflage for Infamous to work with.
Descendant's been spotted out though. LastShot knows exactly where he is. He will be called out. He's just going to wait over towards Dummy. He's hoping his teammates can provide some sort of distraction so he can provide a backstab or open the door and an opportunity here. Teammates have got to do that. LastShot just waiting from top middle, and he runs straight into the blender. Sure, you can. They're going to trade it out.
And they were just waiting. It's one thing I've noticed so far from Rebellion, both of these games, is they've been so aware of camouflages and just knew exactly where each player of Infamous was going to be pushing when they did have it. Infamous do close the gap to 3 though, and Frosty's under a little bit of pressure, so he has to retreat as well.
Heads up play from Frosty, recognizing he was down in numbers, seeing 2 players and thought, I do not like that fight. 1v1 with Lethul now. Lethul comes out on top, the fadeaway shot. Royal 2 though gets the kill. A 3-kill advantage now as we head towards the end game. Descendant's position towards top tower. Royal 2 heading up there now. It's going to be a scrap, it's going to be a skirmish. Royal 2 comes out on top.
Rebellion's cleanup is just that little bit better than Infamous. As soon as that damage has been put out, someone will be there to finish the job, and maybe Frosty says, I can do it myself with the sniper rifle now. It's a 5-kill lead yet again. 4 now remain, make it 3, and Rebellion, are they about to turn the corner here? Oh!
Lands the body. 1 more kill then to double their series advantage. Over top middle he goes. Finds the body, forces that player down bottom. The kill comes elsewhere, and Rebellion do put themselves 2 to the good.
It was a great effort from Infamous, but they just allowed Rebellion to get arm's length away, and they held them there. Did not allow Infamous back into that game whatsoever. As soon as there was 1 kill on the board, Rebellion answered back immediately, but then would add an extra on top of it just to keep them even further and further. And then Infamous got that 1 taste where they were within 2, and then Frosty gets a sniper rifle. It's those fine margins that can really be the difference maker, though, in these games. And again, I think Infamous should be really happy that they are having these close games with Shopify Rebellion, the #1 seed. But at the same time, if this series ends up as a 3-0, no one's really going to remember how close those games were.
I think you rightly touched upon it, right? Cause for optimism for Infamous for keeping the games as close as they were. Game 1, if LastShot doesn't get that overkill, how different could the game have been? Game 2, Frosty takes over with the sniper rifle, just putting breathing room between him and the rest of the enemy. But now, CTF Forbidden on the horizon. Not our newest game type, but one of the newer ones. And of course, all these teams fresh, so have to try and figure out strategies, tactics, how to break and how to hold setups. And maybe this could be an opportunity for Infamous.
And of course, a very heavy sniping map. And I think when you've got Frosty, LastShot, Royal 2, Cykul on a team.
That's not the narrative I wanted you to push. I wanted you to go the other way.
Tough to try and go against Shopify Rebellion here, to be honest. I mean, when they scrimmed against each other on this map, CTF Forbidden, it was a 3-0 in favor of Shopify Rebellion. Yes, that was 2 weeks ago, but that's where you go off just for initial guesses. But I think from what I've seen on live fire and actually the sniper shots that were hit and how prevalent the sniper is on Forbidden, I think it's going to be Shopify Rebellion to take this one 3-0. If you allow Royal 2, you allow Frosty to start to pop off, it's going to be very difficult to defend your flag.
Rebellion then one game away from a clean sweep and potentially topping their pool until the open bracket comes in and tries to cause some sort of mischief. But for now, things are looking good, things are going their way. And for Infamous, they would have been expecting perhaps to lose this series, and maybe their interest and intention will turn to the second team in their pool. But with the way this has gone, up against Cloud9, that could be a really good series, Dan.
Yeah, I think that Infamous would have looked at the series and said, all right, Cloud9 is our main target. If we can walk away with anything against Shopify Rebellion, we'll be happy, even if that's just a map. They're going to be realistic. I think you have to be in Halo. You can't always come in expecting to beat everyone, especially in pool play. You can, of course, say, oh, we think we could win the tournament, but that wouldn't necessarily be from pool play. I think you have to accept your fate in a situation like this when you are a newer side. You need those reps, you need that practice against a squad like this on LAN. But CTF Forbidden, I mean, there's always the chance that maybe Shopify Rebellion don't have as much control. When they're 2-0 up, they might get a little bit dizzy with the situation and say, you know, we're going to breeze through this one and perhaps Infamous can take control. I think I'm stretching a little bit, but I just want to hope for maybe a game on their side.
I think it has to be said as well, Dan, particularly how their first series went and their second, it's crazy the difference one kill, one play can make in turning the score of a game and a series in general, because all of a sudden a couple of kills have gone against Rebellion in the first series and now. The whole complexion of their tournament looks totally different.
And that's the thing about Halo is you want the superstar, you want the X Factor on your team. And, you know, when Optic was made, everyone was like, well, you've just made a team of 4 X Factors, 4 superstars. But then you look at this Shopify Rebellion roster, you could say the same thing. Granted, Cykul, LastShot maybe don't have the same kind of credentials as Optic Gaming do, but they have shown and demonstrated throughout so many games throughout the HCS, they have the ability to be game changers. You have 4 game changers on the side of Shopify Rebellion who can all pop off at any moment, and the other team is always going to be like, all right, well, we could get 3 down, but then where's Frosty? Oh, he's got a sniper rifle. We have to focus on it, and suddenly a double kill comes out. Suddenly LastShot gets an overkill, and it's a different story.
Now, we always talk about the recipe for success on certain maps, what's the meta, what to expect, and with Rebellion on Forbidden, it's going to be no different. Do you expect the sniper rifles to play an integral part, and that's how they're really going to be the difference maker?
Yeah, I think if Infamous allow 2 sniper rifles to go into the hand of Shopify Rebellion, then we're just going to be ticking this one off, 3-0, move on with our day and start to think about the next series here in Arlington. However, I think if you can take those snipers away from Shopify Rebellion, then that is going to be your best chance. Sounds simple, whether you're throwing it off the map, whether you just keep it in your own possession, I think that's going to be your best opportunity.
And something we were talking with Clutch recently, and he was saying that how he thinks at the moment, on current form, Frosty is the best player in the game, and he's really starting to show that in some of these games.
I mean, hard to argue with it as well. I think the way Frosty's been playing, everyone's looking at him saying that he has awakened a new beast within himself. Halo 5 Frosty, I've heard a few times. I mean, we've got Halo 5 maps coming into the equation now here in HCS as well in Infinite, so I think that is definitely the chance for Frosty to be at the top of his game once more. And you mentioned it during the first game of this series. They have a point to prove. I mean, Frosty Royal 2 probably left like, well, why weren't we trying to be poached? Why weren't we the ones that were being formed on this super team, for example? And I think that they've already started to answer those critics that may have said otherwise. And I'm very excited for how this season's going to go. I mean, we watched what happened in the Invitational. Could you argue that, you know, did Rebellion technically win against Optic Gaming? Was it left realistically at a draw? I think we come into this event still with the unknown of who is the best team. Yes, Rebellion won the format that was in front of them. Had it been the same format as here, who knows what would have happened.
That is the great thing about the K-Stan Invitational, because maybe not a great thing for the players because they would have wanted to see who wins outright, no asterisks around it. But as a fan, you look at it and go, we didn't get a definitive conclusion to that tournament. It was left. One team won it in the upper bracket, and then they came back. There was no bracket reset. So now we have this moment where both teams are very evenly matched, and we don't know who's quite just ahead right now.
It's almost set it up perfectly.
It really is.
Actually, I mean, even if by accident, but I think that Rebellion will want to prove at this tournament that, you know, it doesn't matter if there wasn't a bracket reset. We are still the best team. We would have got it done anyway if there was one. And the only way to find out will be Sunday here in Arlington.
Oh, it will be settled one way or another, but still to settle this series here and now. Capture the flag on Forbidden. 2 sniper rifles do come into play, and we've got some big game players on the map that can have an influence. You speak about Royal 2, he has an illustrious career, Dan, of hitting these shots, and I'll expect to see something from him. Maybe right off the rip. Is he going to be the one that's trusted to pick up the sniper rifle and make some plays?
I think he might be. I mean, whether you're the replay operator in-house or whether you're just somebody who likes to clip things on Twitch or YouTube, get ready, because this is one of those maps that does provide those big moments with the sniper rifles being available. You can see the quick push for the overshield as well. Almost so quick that it caught them off guard. 3 dead on the side of Infamous.
Royal 2 has got to be asking, where did Kuhlect come from? Such was the speed in which he covered that ground. Frosty's got his hands on the snipe and the flag, but Kuhlect behind enemy lines, being a nuisance, body shot onto one. He's receiving a lot of pressure here though, has to try and get LastShot and does, but Kuhlect may have single-handedly stopped that flag run.
How did that nade not kill LastShot? Would be my question. He's managed to find the only pixel that was available to save him, but now Royal 2 has picked up the sniper that he would say is rightfully his, and I think that was a great early push from Kuhlect, not only to stop the sniper rifle, but it also stopped the flag being pulled. Yes, it left the rest of his team vulnerable, but it worked out in the end.
Royal 2 then, now has his hands back on his precious. He's driving forward. Ezho down to no shields. No longer a problem. That's how you say words. Thought I'd forgotten over time.
Was that an accent thing?
No,
okay.
That was just me having a fat tongue. Just couldn't get the words out of my mouth. Lethul down to no shields. Just manages to stay alive for now, although not any longer because Frosty has taken him out. LastShot combines as well to get a kill in the zone. Royal 2 continues to put down damage here. Down to no shields, has to back away. And Kuhlect then is happy enough to allow Royal 2 to stay down here in the bonfire for now, but does double back and get a double kill. So Kuhlect so far putting in a lot of good work, a lot of hard yards.
Yeah, and a successful first couple of minutes for Infamous. Not only do they get rid of the first sniper rifle, but they also waste a couple of bullets, and it has not given a first flag capture for Rebellion as well. So if they can consistently find a way to shut down that sniper rifle, it will give them a fantastic chance as well. Ezho, the last remaining player though, and now that will allow Rebellion to start to circle their prey here.
You have to wonder just how important will this first flag capture be? Because if it goes the way of Rebellion, will Infamous start to feel like this series is beyond them? And at the moment, Rebellion are in a lot of enemy territory. But then again, Overshield drops off the map. Royal 2 just couldn't get it into his chest, and Infamous survived for now.
Yeah, now Infamous will get the chance to take a little bit of map control here, take top middle, start to move towards the opposition flag. And I think they're trying to find LastShot at the moment. He's been pinged a couple of times. Ezho's going to try and get there, but just when you think you found a member of Rebellion on their own, someone else just comes out of the woodwork.
It is a danger of trying to traverse so much ground. Because all of a sudden you leave yourself open to some angles and some damage. LastShot's got the flag and he's running it. Down the steps he goes. Cykul providing cover fire here. Kuhlect down to no shields. Did do a lot of damage. Look, he wasn't the favorite to win the fight, but did do quite a lot of damage here. LastShot though has made it all the way up the back ramp through sewers. Is there anyone there to put the stop to it? The answer is no. 1-0 then, Rebellion take the lead.
Great setup from Rebellion for that flag as well. Just having Cykul in that position means he can win that 1v1 of the player pushing up ramp, but also does that extra damage on anyone who is chasing that flag where they feel like they have to commit or they are going to have to just back off and let that flag go because of the amount of damage that was coming from top middle. Now Royal 2's got the fresh sniper rifle and they have the lead. This could be the beginning of the end here for Infamous.
Untrained. Good enough for a body shot on the Descendant. Trying to predict the drop down, but Descendant's going to stay exactly where he is. Royal 2 then will watch once more. Kills going across the map, and Royal 2 is about as comfortable as one can be all the way back here with the sniper rifle. Is often been told that's his playstyle. He likes to anchor, and this is as far back as you could possibly be with the sniper rifle. I have heard stories of Wes Clutch betraying him for things like this.
I mean, he's ready to put his slippers on, get a dressing gown on the go, or a bathrobe for you Americans, and get a cup of tea. I think he's comfortable. This is exactly where he wants to be. Now he's just helped Frosty get the overshield as well, so this is going to be another push coming from Rebellion. Kuhlect goes down, 2 are dead, and the push will come through, and a flag is going to be moved.
Frosty opting to apply some pressure and aggression onto the fresh spawners. 3 dead for Infamous again. Lethul's the first one, and only one standing for a moment, trying to do damage to that flag carrier, but unfortunately for him, LastShot's already got to back up the ramp again. It's deja vu, because yet another flag is being ran in, and just like that, it's 2 to the good now for Rebellion.
It was the same setup yet again, but this time Royal 2 was holding the position Cykul did previously, but with a sniper rifle, holds even more threat, which makes it even more difficult for Infamous to try and chase that flag, because as soon as you expose any body part, it's probably going to be shot by Royal 2. 2-0 lead, 7 minutes to go, and Infamous really have to dig deep if they want anything in this series now.
They're going to do it. It's most certainly going to be the hard way. The commando in the hands of Cykul, doing that damage as Lethul slid across. Ezho's made it up the main ramp. Cykul knows exactly where he is.
But notice how they don't really want to push yet. They don't want to get too aggressive until they have someone in that top ramp position. Frosty now finds himself there, so they begin to move up and towards the flag. As soon as they have someone top ramp, that's when they feel comfortable to start moving it, because it gives you options. Depending on where spawns are, depending on where control is, that's where you're going to be moving that flag.
It really is like the foundation point of a flag cap. You have to have a player situated there, applying pressure to the new spawners, because they can't take ground. Their only avenue to get out is down through the sewer. 3 dead now for Infamous. And LastShot in enemy territory. 4 dead now. The flag's going to get pulled. They have a spawner over towards the snipe tower, though. That's going to prove to be a little bit of a complication now for LastShot. He has to try and take care of Kuhlect. He doesn't do so, and Ezho eliminates him from the equation.
It's a fortunate split spawn for Infamous, but the flag is still in a position where it could be grabbed by Shopify Rebellion if they want to commit to it. But they may feel, by committing to it, they give up too much map presence. They might just let this one go and play this one smartly, especially with the overshield coming up.
Cykul's good for 2. Has himself a fresh coat of paint now. Overshield locked in. Kuhlect's going to fall as well. And for Cykul, you're exactly where you need to be at this very moment. Ezho spawned over towards the tower again. Cykul does not care, does not give a damn right now. Driving that flag forward, taking 0 damage along the way as well. 3 members of his team have fallen, so perhaps this one won't go in as comfortably as though it may look. Cykul drives forward, the overshield done just enough, and they complete the clean sweep.
Shopify Rebellion are looking pretty hot here in Arlington, and even though there was a great fight from Infamous, especially in the first 2 matches, I think we start to see the brilliance as we got to the conclusion of that series. And I love that push from Cykul. He was holding top ramp, and I was going through my head saying, well, he got the top ramp position, he's going to send someone else in, but he said, you know what, screw it, I've got an overshield. I can literally run with this flag, even if I get tagged, I'm at least getting round the corner. Sees his teammates go down, he says, well, I've still got a full overshield pretty much, and he will throw that one in to make it a 3-0 on CTF Forbidden, and of course, 3-0 in the series. So Shopify Rebellion will be at the top of their pool until we see one of the open teams join them, who will have to try and battle it out to maybe see if they could take that position away from them.
It has to be said, if you look at that series layout now, the troubles that they had in Game 1, Game 2 and 3, a lot more comfortable for them. The 3-0 sweep against Infamous, which is probably what they would have expected coming into this, but they definitely grew in confidence as the series went on.
I think they would have been expecting to 3-0 Cloud9 and Infamous, so I think maybe that drop of a map against Cloud9 might have shaken them a little bit, but I think to be humbled early on in a tournament is very important as well, because then you don't get in your head of thinking, we could have the flawless tournament. We could have that tournament where we don't drop a game. No, just get it out early, focus on winning, instead of thinking about anything too extra, especially in the first major of the season.
Sometimes winning dirty is winning is good enough. Rebellion, Game 1, they were really put to the test. Infamous threatened throughout. The overshield in the end, punching in that last flag, and it's really indicative of how good the teamwork was, particularly on CTF Forbidden. Dan, you spoke about how important the sniper rifles were, but their strategy and some of their setups were impervious.
I think what's very exciting is not only have we got Shopify Rebellion, and we're talking about, you know, Rebellion, you've got Optic, you've got SSG, you've got FaZe, but also the top 5 to 12 and the likes of Infamous, the likes of Cloud9, TSM, they are going to be some insane games throughout this tournament.
This tournament is only going to get better and better as we progress. And speaking of getting better and better, Blaze has got an interview with LastShot. Take it away, fella.